Well, welcome to the fun and mentals of real estate. Boy, we've got a question of the day this time, don't we?
Yes, not a lot of fun either, and a lot of mental today.
Oh, it might be a lot of mental today.
Yes,
so...
and although the tax bills aren't coming out to December, now's the time when they're being assessed. So my question to you is, how high can my property taxes go?
Woo, that is a great question today, which we will answer shortly.
Good.
I'm Angela Dillmon here with Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield, and this is my wealth building partner.
Glen Calvin at Guild Mortgage.
All right, we are here to help you build wealth,
Leave your dream lifestyle and
leave legacies that matter.
Awesome.
All right, so part of helping you build your wealth is keeping your money in your pocket.
Yes.
So how
I was
high?
doing some math here.
Wait a minute. How high can your taxes go?
Yeah, there's got to be a limit, right?
There is not a limit.
No
This
limit.
is why you need to pay attention. And just a little side note on history here. The only system we had for valuing houses was this doggone tax assessment.
So when
there was no Zillow, there was no other computer generated value of your house than your tax bill.
So I don't think Franklin County does it, but I know Jefferson and St. Louis and St. Charles County do it. When you sell your house, you sign a form that goes to the assessor saying what you sold it for.
It's true.
Right,
It's
so
true.
the
Franklin
assessor
County
knows.
does not do that, but
Yes.
Jefferson County, St. Louis County, they definitely do.
Right, so
The
they
city
know.
does. They know now. But it was the only way people had. So when they went to sell their house, they were like, well, it's good that my assessment's so high, that they value my house so high. And this is why people never appealed it, and it's why people don't have the habit of paying attention to it. But it is a money grab. It will just take money right out of your pocket. You need to pay attention to what
And
they're
you
valuing.
got to be proactive and put effort in. So I was trying
do.
to figure out here, trying to figure out what my neighbor's house sold for, minus how big their yard is, who has a swimming pool, who has a shed, one has an old car in the front yard. Then I take that times pi.
That's it.
I take that times pi, then I divide that by kind of 36. How do you figure it out?
Oh my
I have
gosh.
no clue.
Okay, so this is what happens. It's a state law that each county must revalue your home. It's called reassess, but it's just a revaluing of your home.
Okay.
How much is Glen's house worth today? That's
Do
what they want to
Do they go
know.
to Zillow? What do they do?
Yeah, they have their own computer-generated algorithm that spits out a number on your house. Sometimes you get lucky and it's low. Sometimes, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So sometimes it's kind of right on the money, and other times it is super high.
And you know the formula, and I should. I'm embarrassed that I don't, but it's one thing I'll brag about Angie. She is an expert in this field. She's got a math background. She's got a passion for helping people, and you shine when it comes to this.
Yeah, we
So
hate paying taxes, don't we?
what
Hate paying
is-
taxes.
yeah,
So
it just
we're going to
puts you in a
help you
bad
today.
mood, right?
All right, here. So here's
what's the
what
formula?
this is what happens. A computer-generated program just goes out and tries to find comparable sales to your house. And they have this algorithm because it's all based on how they class. Is your lower level finish a class A, a class B, a class C? Are you average? Are you above average? So they have all this stuff. It spits out a number. Once it spits out that home value, so let's just say they value your house at $500,000,
Right.
right? You take 19% of that value,
Okay.
all right? That becomes your assessed value. So there's the home value times 19%, assessed value. Then you take the assessed value and multiply it by your tax rate for your county.
And is it county or is it school district? Because can it vary from county to county?
Yeah, well, yes, it's county, school district in the county in the school district that you're in, plus county taxes or city.
Is it 6.5%,
Right? So let's say you're in a
7%?
city like Baldwin or
Right.
St. Louis City, whatever, they're going to layer theirs on too.
Right.
Okay? And then a lot of the sewer lateral programs are layered on that tax bill too. But so you have a lot of different taxes that are
It's
going
in the high
there.
6s, 7%, something.
Yeah,
just as a rule of
I
thumb?
use about a 6.5 because it comes out a little bit below or above that. So if you get a new value and they raise your house $100,000, right?
You pay tax on that, yeah.
Yeah, that's 19%.
You
so
didn't
you
spend
get
that money, you didn't use that money,
$19,000
yeah.
more that they're taxing
That
you
is a
on.
pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, and
Unrealized
it's
gains.
unrealized gain. You haven't sold the house or anything like that.
And,
so
there's a way to appeal this, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But
Yes.
if you don't pay attention to this, you don't really realize it until they analyze that escrow
It's
account and say,
true.
all of a sudden, Angie, hey, you're $600 behind on your escrow account. We're raising your payment up $50.
Yes, which we're going to talk about that escrow in a minute. This is why it's so important
So
to pay attention to
is
this.
the appeal process the same in every county, every tax district?
Not exactly, but they do have an online option. So first of all, where do you find your value? You find your new value by either they mail it to you, but what's happening is each county is mailing later and later in the
Right,
year,
'cause they don't want you to appeal.
only have until the second Monday in July to appeal.
And that's statewide, or is that same?
Statewide.
Statewide, okay.
Statewide, second Monday in July. Now, what do you need for the appeal process? You can do it online. You can do it by
So
mail.
we'll stop there. How do I know whether it went up or down? I've got
That's
to go
what
to
it. You either they're going to mail it to you, or you need to go online to the assessor's website for your county. So
they
again,
don't
St.
mail-
Louis County Assessor.
They don't mail and say your taxes are going up $200, do they?
No, they just
it's
mail you
tricky.
the value,
Yeah,
and they
so you
say,
gotta
"Here's your
put in
old
this
value."
Crazy math formula.
That's right.
Ugh.
Here's your old value. Here's your new value. That's all they send you. If you're lucky, you get it in time. You can go online, however, and they'll post it online a lot of times before you get it in the mail. So go and start checking now.
You want to go to your county website, go to
Assessor.
the assessor's office. You want
The
to put
assessors.
in. Usually you can do it by your name or your address.
Yes, you look up
Right.
your real estate, your real estate. So you go to real estate search, and then put in your name or your address, and then up will come your property tax, everything on your property, and you'll be able to look at your assessments on there.
Okay,
and
so
your
now
value.
I notice it went up 20%, which wouldn't surprise anybody because of the low inventory market we're in. We're seeing
Yeah.
these bid wars. We're seeing houses, that are listed for sale for $300,000, sell for $360,000. So that's going to have an effect on these taxes.
Yeah, so again, if you go up $100,000, which equates to $19,000, 19%, $19,000 in assessed value, and if you're 6.5% on that, I mean, come on, that's like $1,200
Phew.
a year.
Yeah.
All right, now, and then you get this new tax bill, and all of a sudden your taxes are higher. What's going to happen to my escrow account?
It's going to get too short, and they're going to increase the payment to make up for it.
Yeah, so do they just increase
seeing the
it because, okay, I was $1,200 short, so does my payment only go up $100 a month?
No, it's
No!
a double because they were basing that on a certain number, so they're already behind. They were basing the taxes on $2,000 a month. When they go to
Right.
pay that bill, it was $2,400. So now they're $400 behind, and they got to collect $400 going forward. So
Right,
you're
because they
$800
got to get
behind.
ready for next year. So
Right.
you got. So if you went up $1,200, you got $100 a month for last year. You got $100 a month for this coming year. Plus they want their cushion, so you're a minimum of $200 a month raised on your escrow
Now
account.
they'll give you an option. You can pay back and
You
bring
could pay
current,
it.
right?
Yeah, you could pay the $1,200 now and keep your payment down.
So good news. I don't have to live with this. What does the appeal
Right.
process look like?
So when you appeal, either online or in mail, you have to have your whole argument ready. You can't just go online and set up an appointment and say you want to appeal.
Yes.
You have to have your whole package. And the package is comparables that they didn't use. I mean, we have used comparables that they used before and that were wrong. It's like, yeah, you used a comparable that it says it's 1,200 square foot. It's not. It's 2,000. They don't care. They're like, well, what better comparable do you have? So you need new ones. New, better comparables sold in the last 2 years.
All right.
You get to go back 2 years because this assessment happens every odd year,
Oh,
right?
interesting.
So you get to go back 2 years. If you have an appraisal that was done January 1 or later in 2024, or if you bought the house for a lower amount than they're valuing it, you can bring your settlement statement if that was in 2024.
Okay.
So that's super interesting
Yeah.
that they don't always like the 2023, like the 2 year ago on that. Right now, there's an early review, and if you do have an appraisal or a settlement statement, or like you just got knocked by the recent storm and you have $20,000 worth of damage, you can take that in for an early review and just sit down and talk to somebody about it. But you have to have one of those things. If you don't, you have to wait for the appeal process. So you have to have new comparables, your whole argument written out, like this is why I'm arguing, pictures of the other houses, probably some pictures of yours,
Nice. Okay.
right? And we put this whole package together. We send it in online or in the mail, or you can drop it off. And then they give you wait for a date to where you can go. Most of them are online now. You do an online Zoom with this, with one of the appraisers that they've hired, and there's a second person there too. So there's a two appraisers on at the same time. You talk to one, you give them your argument. If you don't like what their answer is, then the second one will see if they'll give you any other break on your taxes. And if you still don't like what you hear, you can go to the Board of Equalization, and that is going to be a 3-person panel that is at a later date.
Okay.
So now,
So I'll say one of the good things about it being so complicated is not enough people do it.
not enough people do it.
They really
now.
count on it's a little bit cumbersome. It's work. We talk about buying a home being like a wedding. I mean,
Right.
And I always say this to my kids: nothing worthwhile comes easy. This is definitely worthwhile, and it's definitely put in the effort into it.
It
and
is.
Again, to our podcast listeners, you have great resources and people to help and guide you.
Right.
I'm not as good as her, but I am fairly studied in this and would know at least the right path and the way.
So
and the way to go.
if you click the Calendly link below, and you can even just text your address and taxes, and I'll take a look at it. This is first step. Like, are you overvalued? Well, let's look at some comps real quick and see. I need to know if you've done updates, how updated you are, and so forth. Send me some pictures or whatever.
Or if you
we
didn't
can
do
get
updates,
online and
right.
do a Zoom, and we can talk it and walk through it. And if we feel like you're high, then we'll delve into real comps and a real argument and getting on, and we'll help you get online and apply. And I've had some people just go in with maybe just a comparable or two, and they just go in and make the argument, and automatically it'll knock them down some.
Yeah.
Because here's the little secret. They're in that county system is actually 2 or 3 values.
Oh, they have to
and
pick one,
they
yeah.
send you the highest one.
Of course they do.
So
Right.
when you go to your first level of appeal process, a lot of times they'll automatically give you one of those lower values. So sometimes it's just worth going to say something, and
Yes.
they'll automatically dump you down a little bit. That'll help some. But even if you applied for the senior tax freeze,
You still need to do it.
you still need to do this, because if you ever go to sell your house, oh my goodness, this could get out of control, because there's no limit to how much they can raise you in 1 year.
Yeah, and
I think that needs to be changed at the state
Yeah, I agree.
for sure. I think it's
Especially
it's
when we see
terrible.
crazy appreciation over the last 3 or 4 years.
We have. Now
15% maybe.
we did so many of them last go around because the jump was so high.
I think it's going to be as bad or worse coming up.
It can.
And
So,
I think the
yeah.
good news is it's not easy, but it's not impossible. And if you get
It's
a little
not
guidance,
impossible.
a little help, you can really save yourself some money.
Yep, you can. Now, and so we'll help you. Just click on a link. We'll do a Zoom together. We can get it going.
And how much do you charge for this service?
I don't. It's so
She's the best.
if you're
Yes.
a past customer, easy done. If you got a
Right.
relative or a friend, have them jump on Zoom with you. I've had people like neighbors come over and
You
go,
did one of
"Hey,
my
how does
clients,
this
yeah.
work?" It's people just need to be educated. We're here to help you build wealth, right?
And keeping those
and
taxes lower,
keeping
yes.
those taxes down, keeping your insurance down. Right, keeping repairs down, keeping up with your home are all part of building wealth in real estate. So, thanks for joining us
Yes.
today. We appreciate it. We're here to help.
Yeah,
Let
be
us
sure
know.
and hit the share button,
Hit the
like,
share,
pass
like,
this podcast
follow
on. There's
us.
a lot of good information here.
Yeah, all the fun stuff,
All
right?
right, how do we get a hold of Angie Dillmon?
Oh, 314-277-7713. Just text the taxes to it and I'll help you out.
And you can call me at Guild Mortgage, 314-249-6861.
When your escrow gets messed up, that's who you call. He helps you out with it.
Yes, all the time.
That's where
All
I'm
right, so
sending you.
we're laughing and smiling about higher taxes, but,
Okay.
but fight the good fight.
It was a little mental, but we had some fun today.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.